All right. Can everybody see my screen? Can you just give me a head nod or something? Perfect. Making sure. Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us for this Lunch and Learn today. Today we are going to be talking about the WIC Dietetic Internship Program. My name is Lisa Clark. I'm the Dietetic Internship Coordinator here at Maricopa County Department of Public Health. I have two supporting members of this dietetic internship team that are not on here today. But Diana Kinsfather is my supervisor and manages all of the programs that are run out of public health as far as education and supervised practice go. And then we also have an assistant dietetic internship coordinator named Cassandra, who provides a lot of admin assistance to this program as well. On this slide here, you can see our most recent cohort that just graduated. We had a class of 7 interns who just completed their dietetic internship with this program and are eligible to sit for the RD exam. Let me do some quick math here. Half of these individuals have already passed their RD exam, which is really exciting. So they are newly credentialed practitioners, which is the goal of this program. Today, we're going to be talking about what this program is, what type of supervised practice it provides. We'll talk a little bit about the eligibility requirements and who is eligible to apply, a little bit of the detail behind the application process itself, and then, of course, leave time for questions at the end. So first, let's talk about the program itself. So the Maricopa County Dietetic Internship Program is a public health-focused program that provides the 1,000 supervised practice hours that are required to be a registered dietitian. We are a public health-focused program, but that doesn't mean that we don't provide clinical rotations. We still provide food and nutrition management rotations. There are specific supervised practice experiences that all dietetic internships have to provide. In our case, we provide those and add to that and make sure that there are additional public health-focused experiences. So things like rotating with our Maricopa County food systems team, stuff with public policy with Pinnacle Prevention. So while we do provide the same basic required rotations that all dietetic internships provide, we do have those that are focused specifically on public health as well. We accept up to 6 interns each year from Arizona WIC local agencies. So that's agencies across the entire state. And every year it's just a little bit different who we get from which agency. In this incoming cohort that's actually getting ready to start here in the next month, we have 5 Maricopa County interns coming in to complete their supervised practice training to become a registered dietitian. So that's really exciting. And then the best part about this is the job security at the end of it. So once graduates have completed the program, they're then contracted to work for Arizona WIC for 2 years after passing the RD exam. So you are guaranteed a job at the end of this upon passing the registered dietitian nutritionist exam. So when it comes to benefits of this program, there really isn't another program like this in the US. We've talked to several different WIC type programs across the country, and we're really the only one that provides something quite like this. For those of you who are on this call, it's expensive to become an RD. By the time you complete the education and the supervised practice, pay for the exams, study materials, all of those things, it can really add up quick. And so one of the key things for this program is we're trying to provide a lower cost path to the RDN credential itself. And we accomplish that in a couple different ways. We'll talk about pay and benefits here in a moment. But with this program, if you are in the WIC dietetic internship, you don't pay any tuition. There is no tuition cost to this program. So that's a big one right there, because usually that can be several thousands of dollars. So no tuition in this. The other thing that we do is we provide reimbursement for RDN exam attempts. So because your employment and the contract fulfillment for this program is dependent on you passing the RDN exam, this program will continue to reimburse you until you pass the exam. I'll be honest, it's a tough test. The first time pass rate isn't the highest, but eventually all of our graduates do pass the RD exam. And again, we will continue to reimburse so you don't have to pay that cost to get to that credential. And then lastly, we provide all RDN study exam materials. Right now, we're providing RD Bootcamp and we're providing Pocket Prep. And we're always open to adding more materials as well, depending on if interns are looking to, explore a certain type of study material. So again, really focusing on lowering the cost to getting that RDN credential. The other unique aspect of this program is that you continue to receive your compensation and benefits throughout the entirety of this internship. So while you're completing your supervised practice rotations, you are continuing to receive your compensation and your benefits. You continue to remain a Maricopa County employee as you complete this program. One new thing about this program is we have flexibility with graduate degree options. I'm going to go into more detail about what this means as far as eligibility requirements, how much do you have to have completed on a master's degree to be eligible, if you even have to have any. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but really we are flexible with wherever you're at in pursuing a graduate degree. Rotations are tailored to intern interests and they are scheduled by the program. There are a lot of different programs out there that provide supervised practice, and some require interns to find their own rotations and their own preceptors. In this case, for this program, you're looking at the person who schedules rotations and coordinates, and we have just a phenomenal pool of preceptors that have been vetted, and we take the feedback very seriously from the previous cohorts about what went well, what doesn't go well, and we remove sites that aren't providing good experiences that are mutually beneficial for both the intern and the preceptor. So all the scheduling of rotations is done by me. And then, of course, we also want to take into account what you're interested in seeing as an intern. Every intern has to complete, like I said earlier, some of those same basic rotations like clinical, food and nutrition management, some of the public health rotations. But beyond that, we have a lot of different options. So if you're interested in looking at and learning more about outpatient diabetes or outpatient oncology, private practice, counseling, public policy, we actually have a new rotation in this cohort with Blue Zone Scottsdale. So we really try to take into account what you are the most interested in seeing in the time that you have in supervised practice. And then lastly, it's a very supportive environment. We're not a university. We aren't teaching classes on the side with only a certain amount of our time dedicated to the internship program. We have approximately 2 FTEs that are dedicated to supporting this program, continuous quality improvement, and making sure it's really providing interns with the best experience possible. Okay, let's talk about eligibility requirements. This is a big one because we've had some changes recently. So one thing that has not changed with eligibility requirements for being eligible to apply to this program is you still need to have a signed verification of completion of a didactic program in dietetics, a DPD verification statement, or that you are completing one. This has not changed. This is that very specific nutrition undergraduate degree program that you have to complete in order to be eligible to complete supervised practice with us. So that has not changed. You have to have worked for Arizona WIC for at least 6 months of full-time employment prior to the application due date of January 15th. And then, of course, which applies to all of you on this call, you have to be currently employed at an Arizona WIC local agency. But the key thing that has changed with our eligibility requirements is that there's no longer a graduate, or you don't have to have a master's degree to apply, and you don't have to have started a master's degree to apply. So let's talk a little bit about master's degree requirements. So as of January 1st of this year, it is now a requirement that you, in order to be able to sit for the registered dietitian nutritionist exam, you do have to have a master's degree. But the good news is our program offers a lot of different options for meeting that requirement and getting to that RDN credential. So interns can apply, or applicants, I guess, can apply if they already have a master's degree. This is the most streamlined option. And they can complete the internship in 8 months because at that point, all they're completing is just the supervised practice hours and completing those rotations. But newly added to our options for completing this requirement is you do not have to have a master's degree to even apply to this program. If that's the case, then we have 2 different options for you to select from as far as where you will complete that master's degree. And you'll complete the internship at the same time as you complete your graduate degree coursework in approximately 15 months. So what this looks like is you would apply to the program by January 15th. Once you are notified of your acceptance, you would apply to one of the 2 programs that I'll show you here on this next slide. You would start graduate degree coursework that summer, complete a summer semester, a fall semester, a spring semester, and then 1 more summer semester. So for about approximately 15 months. And then you would have both of them complete and be eligible to sit for the RD exam. Of course, we still do accept those who have started a master's degree or in the process of getting a master's degree. I would just say that this is more of a case-by-case basis. It kind of depends on how much of a master's degree that you've already completed by the time you would start the internship program. So if you are one of those people who've already started a master's degree, at the time of application, please reach out because we're happy to talk about where you're at in the process and kind of figure out when you're going to finish that master's degree. So if you are applying and you have not started a master's degree, you will be required to pick one of these two options. The reason for that is we have to show based on our accrediting body that you can complete the dietetic internship supervised practice portion and a master's degree within about 4 months of completing the internship itself. So we are a little bit time bound. And with that, we've created a partnership between these two programs, one at ASU and one at U of A, to make sure that that can actually happen. So the two options that you will have to pick from if you are applying without a master's degree is the Professional Science Masters in Applied Nutrition from the University of Arizona or the Online Master of Science in Nutritional Sciences and Dietetics from ASU. Both of these are online programs. They both start in summer and last through the following summer. They are a separate program. So our program for supervised practice within the dietetic internship is tuition free, but there would be a separate tuition cost associated with these programs for actually obtaining your master's degree. I will say though that please check with your employer because there is usually some sort of tuition reimbursement option. I know Maricopa County has a fairly robust tuition reimbursement policy. So we've had past grads who do work for Maricopa County complete their master's degree at a relatively low cost compared to if you had paid for it out of pocket. So if you are looking at becoming a registered dietitian, you do need to have a master's degree. Definitely look into what your agency's tuition reimbursement policy is. And that brings me to another really important point. If you are looking to become a registered dietitian, whether it's through this program, through another program, if that is your end goal is to get to that credential, there's no reason to delay getting a graduate degree started. Again, we have options, whether you've got one, you're in the process of getting one, or you don't have one. But that's not to say that you shouldn't start one now. Right now, it's only August. And so if you're looking at getting into this next cohort, which has an application due date of January 15th, you could have quite a lot of your master's degree already done by the time you start the program. And that just eases a little bit of like the busyness of having to complete both at the same time. So application process itself. We accept applications starting October 1st through January 15th. Those applications are cut off at midnight on January 15th. So if you want to apply, make sure you get it in by then. If you're familiar with some of the processes of applying to dietetic internships, you might have heard of DICAS. Good news is we don't use DICAS. So the process of applying to this program, if you meet those eligibility criteria, is really simple. You just submit your application directly to me via email. This is for a couple of reasons, but the main one is, again, trying to lower the cost of doing this and making it a relatively low risk application submission because DICAS has its own fees. Many programs have their own additional application fees. There are no fees associated with this. So if you meet the eligibility criteria, you don't lose anything by applying to this program. So what this timeline looks like, and this is on our website, is that we will start accepting applications October 1st. All those applications are due to me by January 15th. We review applications in January and February, and then extend offers to interview in February. We will let applicants know by March 1st at the absolute latest. It's more likely than not that you will know much before this, whether you've been accepted or not. But the last date possible that we would let you know whether you've been accepted, waitlisted, or rejected would be March 1st. And then, of course, we need to hear back from you all whether you've accepted or not. So what needs to be included in an application? Again, in the spirit of making this as low cost as possible, I don't need official transcripts. You don't need to pay for transcripts, but I do need unofficial transcripts. So wherever you got your DPD verification statement from, I need an unofficial transcript from there. And then again, you do not have to have a master's degree to apply, but if you have done any master's degree coursework or you've gotten a master's degree, seeing unofficial transcripts for that is very helpful. We do need to have the name and email address of who will be completing your recommendation for the program. And then, of course, that signed DPD verification statement that was part of the eligibility criteria. We also ask for an updated copy of your resume. there's a letter, a declaration of intent that you do have to sign saying that you are officially applying and that your supervisor and leadership team is in support, and then a personal statement. I'm going to break some of these down in a little bit more detail on the coming slides. So first up is the personal statement. This is one of my favorite things to review in applications because it shows the person outside of just the paperwork that's being submitted. The questions are pretty standard questions that you would find in a personal statement. I don't have any specific recommendations or requirements for the length. I would just say that make sure you're exploring all of these bullet points to the extent that they need to be explored in your personal statement. At the bottom here, I do want to make a point about this particular one about the master's degree. Again, having a master's degree or having started a master's degree is not a requirement for applying to this program. So if you're writing your personal statement and you get to this question, you just have to say that you've not yet started a master's degree. That doesn't necessarily make you a less ideal candidate compared to other applicants. That's not part of how we weight who is going to be in this program or not. But we do need to know where you are in the process because that helps us understand a little bit about where you're coming from. This recommendation is really important. So instead of having you request letters of recommendation from certain individuals, instead, all we ask is for you to provide the name and the email address of someone from your WIC agency leadership team who will be asked to provide a recommendation for you. Once that is sent to me as part of your application, I will then send a link to that person to complete your actual recommendation. This is really important part of this process. Ultimately, what your agency leadership member is doing as they complete this form is saying whether they want you to come back as an RD, because again, that is the payback for this. That is that job security. That is that contract, is that once you've passed the exam, you are coming back to work for your agency as an RD. So having leadership support is just absolutely crucial to this. And in this form is where that leadership team member will be asked whether or not they recommend you. And if they don't recommend you, you cannot move forward in the process. So with
Lisa,
that,
can
if
I
you
just
are,
speak to this for a
yeah, go right
second?
ahead. Go right ahead.
Since I only see Maricopa staff on this, I just
This is
want
just
you
Maricopa
all to know
County.
that. Okay, yeah, I just want to let you all know that I put in the chat, but just in case you did not see this, this leadership person is me and only me. Your whole management team would be contributing to the recommendation letter, but if you are to apply for the internship, the person that you should be listing on this recommendation list is me.
Perfect. Thank you, Emily. And with that, if you are looking to become an RD and you are looking to utilize this pathway to get there, start having that conversation with Emily now. Make sure that you're on her radar so that she is aware that you are looking at pursuing this path and getting to that credential. Next up is the declaration of intent. So this is an official letter that is signed that says that you are actually declaring your intent. There is a contract involved with the acceptance of a position in this track because again, that payback looks like you returning your service to Arizona WIC for 2 years after passing the exam. So this is just a more formal letter stating that you are in fact applying. With that, if you want to take a look at what that letter looks like, you can scan or click this QR code. I'll send the slides after this presentation to review what that looks like, but that also needs to be submitted as part of your application. And that covers the main things I wanted to talk about today. I think the keys here are when it comes to eligibility requirements, there are only 3. You have to have a DPD verification statement. You have to have worked for Arizona WIC for at least 6 months full time, and you have to be a current employee of an Arizona WIC agency at the time of application. No graduate degree is required. You do not have to have started a graduate degree. You don't have to have a certain amount or percentage of a graduate degree complete to apply. It is really that simple. Those are those 3 eligibility requirements. All of this information and probably so much more is available at our website if you want to review it or look into it more. Our website also has information and links specific to those graduate degree options if you are someone who is applying without a master's degree already. And then we also have information on here about our program schedule, some of the specifics like about what rotation sites you might go to and some of that. So there's more information on our website as well. And the final ask as part of this lunch and learn is that if you are looking at pursuing becoming a registered dietitian, whether you have a DPD verification statement or not, whether you've met that 6-month time frame of being eligible to apply or not, we still want to hear from you. This track is really specific and it's a really unique opportunity to get to that RD credential, but there are special cases and special circumstances. So it helps for us to have you on our radar as someone who's actually interested in applying to this program. And we're always happy to answer questions, talk about where you are in the process. And again, even if you don't have a DPD verification statement, we still want to talk to you because we can provide guidance on that aspect as well. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just open it up for any questions that anyone might have.
Hey, Lisa, I have a question. So you mentioned that you think it would be beneficial to start the master's as soon as possible. If we are starting that master's, is it we need to choose one of those two options, or if we choose a different option, we can still come in and do the internship?
Yes. So I would say yes with a little asterisk next to that. So there are just a lot of different master's degree options out there. And something I didn't mention when we were on that slide is that you do not have to have a master's in nutrition to sit for the RDN exam. You can have a master's in anything. You could do an MPH, you could do something in education, you could do an MBA. I mean, you can do whatever you want. The thing is, every program is going to have a different timeline, different credit hour requirements. So I would say that if you're looking to get into the next cohort of dietetic interns, so that cohort would start in the fall of September 2025, graduate in spring of 2026. Send me a message and let's set something up and talk about it. If you are planning on doing one of the two options that is listed on our website, again, not a requirement if you're starting at this point in time, you would definitely be done in time. Still happy to talk to you, of course, but the timeline would work out well so that you could actually get most of it done by the time you start the internship.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
That was a lot of words. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'll probably be reaching out to you anyway, but thank you.
Yeah. And just again, you do not have to have a master's in nutrition. So there are options. We're early enough that you've got options to explore. What other questions can I answer?
So I have a question kind of like that, but a little bit different. So for my situation, I have my master's completed already. And I'm enrolled in DD courses, but they won't finish until July. So that intent to complete, does it need to be done before you start the internship, or just like an agreement that it'll be completed by the time you end it? Like what's the
You should
timeline?
be, yeah, that's a really good question. You should be able to get an intent to complete that says that you'll be done in July, and that would be fine as long as you have the DPD courses done and you have a DPD verification statement at the start of the dietetic internship, we're good to go. But your DPD director can sign an intent to complete saying that you'll be done in July.
Okay.
What else?
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely. We've got 4 more minutes left, so please.
I was just a bit confused with the contract once you finished. I didn't find information on the website about that. Is that just an offer, or you're agreeing if you go into the internship that you will do that 2 years? And then what if something happens within that 2 years and you need to move? Like, what are the stipulations around that?
That's an excellent question. And I didn't spend any time covering it specifically for this, but I'll give you the quick rundown of it. So the way that this works is at the point of you starting the internship. So right now we've got this next group starting in a month. So next week we're having a call with them where they will be explained everything in the contract, what it means, what they are signing. It is an official contract with ADHS that states that you will complete those payback years, because essentially what you're getting is the pay throughout the internship program, plus all of the things that I mentioned that help make this a lower cost path. And so in turn, you are on the hook to complete 2 years of work at Arizona WIC as an RD. There is payback that, like if someone wants to leave the state during the middle of that contract without having completed it, there will be a certain amount that is owed back This should be on our website, but now I'm questioning if it is not. Let me get a little bit more information about what that contract actually looks like and then the specific wording in there. And I'll include that in my follow-up email from this presentation.
Okay, thank you. I just could have done a very bad job looking for it.
We just did a bunch of revisions on the website and I'm second guessing it, so I don't want to promise something that's not there. But it is a contract and it is a binding contract.
It has to be with Arizona WIC. So like if you have to move, it can't be with WIC somewhere else.
Correct. It has to be Arizona. All right, 2 more minutes. Any last second questions? Right. In that case, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, my ask at the end of this is that if you are looking at pursuing down this pathway or looking to apply, whether it's in this current or this income next cohort or the group after that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to meet one-on-one and just talk about what this all means and cover any specific questions that you might have. We are here to help and support throughout the journey on the way to becoming an RD. And thank you all for joining. I will send a follow-up email with the recording here, along with a handout that talks a little bit more about some of the key points we talked about today. And then I will see where that contract wording is located and share that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Bye.
you.